Hello, eighth grade parents. This is Rebecca McHazlett. I'm one of the counselors at the high school. This is a huge transition for your middle school student coming to high school. At this time, we want to explain to you our process we use for course selections. Some of the information that we're going to cover, I'm going to give you a lot of information, but I do believe some of it will seem a little stressful, and because this is the first time you have heard this. As you go through the years, you will feel more comfortable. We're going to cover the graduation requirements. These are the things that your students need in order to graduate. And we're going to talk about the sequences and the opportunities that your child has as far as the advanced courses and even selecting a courseway. We do have an online catalog that will give in great depth the course catalog and the courses that your child has the opportunity to take, maybe not this year, but in the future through their senior year. I'm also going to show you a view of what you will see whenever you enter your Skyward account. And I'm also going to give you a little bit of homework, which is not very hard. It's just going to take about 5 minutes to do, and I will explain it very in depth for you. And then I also want to go over some of the clubs and organizations that your child has the opportunity of being included in during their high school years, and just go through in detail about some of the electives, actually, all of the electives that the freshmen have to choose from. So, in order for a student to graduate after those 4 years, they will have 26 credits or more. The biggest thing is that they have these items that are outlined. They will have to have 4 classes of every core. They will also have to have a speech class and one PE, depending on what they choose to participate in, whether it be athletics or band or ROTC or cheer. They will have to have one fine art, one technology, 2 years of the same language. So, for instance, if your child is taking Spanish 1B, they took it their seventh grade year and they took it their eighth grade year. When they move to the high school, they will take Spanish 2 their freshman year. And then, of course, we allow them to take some electives. And these electives typically have to do with their endorsement or their pathway, which is typically something that interests them. For the advanced courses, we have several different kinds. This year, for their freshman year, they will be choosing honors, and sometimes they're called pre AP, depending on in the upper levels, if they have an AP course that is tied to those particular subjects. I would say that if your child is going to do an honors or a pre AP course, they need to consider their study time. Typically, it is 2 times more because it's going to include that rigor and that information that is above grade level. In order for a student to participate in one of these advanced courses, they must perform at the meets level on their last STAR test or state assessment for that particular subject. Your freshman will not have this opportunity this year, but in the future, this is something that you as parents can plan for. We do offer dual credit courses, which are a college course, and it is for the 11th and 12th graders. There are requirements set by the college, and they usually, most students will qualify using their STAR EOC end of course state assessments. Sometimes students will qualify through their ACT scores or even a TSIA that we as a district are able to give the student. The only cost for the family is the purchase of their textbooks, And they will, before they are allowed into the dual credit course, they must complete a mandatory online orientation and complete the Applied Texas process. This is something that we all want to know about, GPA and rank. Students' GPA will only be taken for the classes that are taken at the high school. They will include the core classes, and we will take each of those semesters and average those out for the ranking purposes. I will say that if your child takes the advanced courses, they are calculated for more points than a regular course. This would be a sequence for your child throughout their high school years. So if you notice, I'm going to go through the science. If you look at physics, that would be their freshman year, and then they would move to biology, which in biology they would be required to take a STAR EOC, end of course state assessment, and that one would be required in order to graduate. That one would be required to pass. Then their junior year, they would take the chemistry course, and then their senior year, they would have an option to take one of multiple different sciences. For instance, we offer anatomy and physiology, we offer forensics, we offer dual credit chemistry, a dual credit biology. So they're for science, they have multiple choices. One thing that I do want to mention on this screen as well is for those students who are taking Algebra 1, their eighth grade year, your math sequence would look a little different than what you see on the screen. At the beginning of their senior year, these students would be required to take a math course their senior year, whether it be a dual credit course or a calculus course. This one is important, the distinguished level of achievement. This is important, especially if a student is at the top 10% of their class. This level of achievement is going beyond the average program. These students will have to have 26, which you need anyway, because that's what you need in order to graduate, according to the state of Texas. There will have to be 4 maths. One of those maths would include Algebra 2 and 4 sciences, and then you would have to complete some type of endorsement, and I will show you those in just a few seconds. Um, in order to be eligible for the top 10%, automatic admissions to a Texas public university, your child would be required to earn this distinguished level of achievement. Here are the pathways and the endorsements I promised you we would look at. Um, we do provide all 5 of those endorsements. The main ones are arts and humanities, public services, STEM, multidisciplinary, and business and industry. As you can see, there are sub topics or content underneath the main endorsements. As you look through them or as your child looks through them, there should be something on there that would possibly interest your child to participate in and be involved in. I would say that I would recommend you visiting the course catalog for more information about each of these pathways to allow your child to make the best decision possible. On the SMORE that was sent with this video, there is a button. It's titled 2021-22 Course Catalog. I would recommend you going into that catalog and taking a look at all of the courses that we offer within our endorsement pathways. This is what a typical freshman schedule would look like. You would have one class of each core, and then they would also have to take a language, whether it be Spanish or American Sign Language. They would have to take some form of PE or athletic. This could also be band, color guard, cheer, ROTC. All freshmen will be required to take the business information management course and also their elective, which would be that first course of their declared endorsement. And in a few minutes, I will go over all of those classes so that they can make an informed decision. Here are the electives that your ninth grade student will have the opportunity to choose from. And what I'm going to do is there will be a slide for each of these electives or alternates in a little bit more depth so that you can see. So there is a choice for them. There is just not as many choices as your freshman moves into their 10th and 11th and 12th grade year. Their electives choices will grow in number. So the first one that we're going to go over is journalism. In journalism, they're going to learn how to sit down with someone and talk to them and have an interview and how to take notes with that interview. They will be writing articles as if they were producing a newspaper or a yearbook. Different techniques for taking photographs will be covered, as well as designing a page or the way something looks once you put the words and the photos together. And in order to be in newspaper or yearbook, journalism is a prerequisite for those two courses. The next elective that I'd like to go over is speech and debate. This is a UIL topic. And so they will be expected to compete on Saturdays for most of the year. They travel anywhere from San Antonio to anywhere in the state of Texas. Both of these topics do require for someone to speak in front of others. In debate, you would be defending an argument based on evidence and logic. The next elective is the JROTC program. It is a branch of the U.S. Air Force. This does not necessarily mean that you are planning to go into the military. This is a way for a student to be involved in a program. On Wednesdays, they are required to wear their blue uniforms. On Friday, they are expected to wear their PT gear. This is a program which involves structure and dress code and following those standards that are needed for military, but not necessarily the student wanting to go into the military. Some of the topics that they cover go over leadership, they go over physical fitness, and they do go over some aerospace science. Sometime in July or August, they will have the basic cadet orientation. And during this orientation is where the new students, typically the freshman students, will kind of learn what they need to know before all of the other cadets come back and return to school. Here are some of the teams that your child could be involved in. If you notice in one of the pictures, you can see that the ROTC is involved at the football games. They are holding the flags as the band is playing the national anthem. They are involved in multiple programs and multiple activities throughout the community. Here is our marching band. If your child is interested, most of your eighth graders coming into ninth graders, they've been in band for several years, so they know how to play their instruments. The high school will hold a freshman camp in May just to see if this is something that the students are interested in before they are participating for the entire semester and during the marching band season. There are physicals that will be needed in order for your child to participate in band. And then band rehearsals will begin at the end of July and go through the month of August. This is where the students will learn their music and learn different marching pieces and where they need to go and how they need to march for competitions. Color guard is also a part of the band. These are the dancers and the flags that you see going throughout the band as the band is performing. This is also a PE credit. If you notice, you will notice that the marching band is in one section and the color guard is in another, and they are considered part of the band. In music appreciation, the different cultures with the different types of music are going to be covered. Students are going to be learning how to do basic music reading and composing and training your ear to listen for specific things. Just basically appreciating music and all kinds of music instead of just one form of music. Choir, there's three different kinds of, or three different classes depending on their voice. These students do participate for UIL, and students must audition for some of these choir classes. In dance, they will cover all different types of dances, anywhere from hip hop to drill to ballet. They will just go over all the different kinds of dances. Their stretching, they will be covering yoga, Zumba, choreography is even mentioned, even the stretching and just learning how to be, more flexible, and even the strength. If you look up in the top picture, you can see students that visited the Tobin Center, which is where a lot of the fine arts performances are held. If dance is for your child, they have an opportunity to try out for the dance team. They have an opportunity to perform in the community and collaborate even with the fine arts department for a fine arts show. Cybersecurity and computer science, we all know that technology is definitely a part of our world these days. In this class, they will learn just the basic ethics, laws, just the operations of cybersecurity and how these students can help prevent cyber attacks and how to find out when there's threats and even the vulnerabilities when being online. There is competitions that students can participate in, and there's even a club and an honor society. There are multiple classes, but this one is needed to be taken first in order to take the other three that we offer. Moving along, we have theater arts. This is mostly acting techniques. They will learn how to pretend to be different characters and use emotions. They will also write scenes for specific types of performances, which would be given by the teacher. A lot of the class is based on their performance within the classroom. Technical theater was added recently. This is if a student is not interested in acting, but actually doing the behind the scenes part. For instance, putting on the makeup for the characters within the play, or creating the scene of what the background will look like, constructing the props, painting them, cutting them out, putting them in a place that looks like a real setting, even though they are sitting in the middle of a stage. These technical theater students do help the students who are in the UIL one act play and even the fall show. Principles of Human Services. This course investigates careers. These careers involve counseling and mental health, family and community, personal care and consumer services, and even the early childhood development. The courses that they would be able to take if your child completed the principles of human services would be courses such as Introductory to Culinary Arts and our Child Development course. Principles of Ag. Within Principles of Ag, we have two different courses. We have one where a child is interested in animals, plants, soil, food sciences. And then we have another one which is interested in competition. The students who are interested in the competition course would be competing on leadership and judging. They may be judging, for instance, horses. They may be judging swine or steers. They have different things that they focus on. If you look in the bottom right corner, those tractors were taken from a field. They did not work. And the students rebuilt them and took them to a competition at the stock show. If you look over on the far left, you've got horticulture. These students take the seeds and grow them all the way up through in our greenhouse that we have on our campus. The food technology, they are learning food safety. Students are handling the food properly so that there are no bacteria that grows within that food. FFA membership is for any student who is enrolled in an ag science course. Annual dues of $20 are expected on October the 1st. These students are not required to show an animal. They could, if not wanting to raise an animal, they could compete in other things such as the leadership team, the judging team, the mechanics project. There's many, many projects and many, many teams that your child could be involved with. Principles of construction, also known previously as woodshop. These students would be going over safety, such as learning the tools and learning what they need to do when they're using the tools. Just basic construction safety. If you look over on the right, you can see picnic tables, you can see cutting boards, little shelves. I know that I've seen them build dog houses. These are small, simple projects for their freshman year. If they continue through the construction courses, those levels of skill would increase each year. Every project through every year would get more difficult. Auto basics. These students are just learning safety of being around an automobile, learning that whenever they complete an oil change, you make sure that you dispose of that oil properly to protect the environment. They would also learn simple repair and maintaining skills for an automobile. We also have added an auto technology. This is auto basics ramped up a little bit and involved with the college level through Southwest Texas Junior College. This one is a two-period block. They will have to, because they are involved within the college, they will have to complete an Applied Texas process and complete a college online orientation, which takes about 30 minutes. The focal topics for the Auto Tech dual credit course are electrical systems, brake systems, and engine performance analysis for this year. If the student continues, then there are several certifications that can be earned through the Auto Tech dual credit course. And once again, if your child continues throughout the Auto Tech program, the skills will be more involved throughout the years of attending the high school. So, out of all of those courses that I just reviewed, I'm sure that you have some questions. And so, what I'm going to recommend is that you visit our online course catalog and you can see the courses described in more detail. When you read the course description, then your child will be able to decide which courses pique their interest and which courses they want to sign up for. Now, keep in mind when you're going through these courses, we will ask that a student also list three alternates. So we're really looking at four electives, and the first one being the one that they want the most. And this is if, let's say, someone wants auto basics. Once we run the master schedule and that particular class does not fit into your child's schedule, what counselors will do is we will look at the alternate and try to put their first alternate in so that your child will have something that they want to do as they are going through the day during their freshman year. So, in order to get to your view in Skyward, if you would go to the district webpage and down at the bottom, usually under a big picture, you will see the Skyward Family Access button. Click on that, and that will give you that screen that you see up in the top right. You will need to log in and use your password. And once you get into the Skyward account, please make sure that if you have more than one child within the district, please make sure that you are on the right child. If you look over on the far left, you will click on the schedule tab. And then on the far right, click the view available courses, and it will open up the courses that your child has access to on the far left. On the far right, those are the courses that your child has selected. Keep in mind, we have at high school, we have 8 classes per day. And so you will need to make sure that your child has signed up for 8 classes. Next, you will need to click on the request alternates. This is very important because, as I mentioned earlier, if the first elective that your child wants to participate in is not available, this is where counselors will go in order to find their alternates. On the far right box, you notice where it says shows three alternates in order on that big red arrow. You can click on those little blue arrows according to the way you would like your first, second, and third choice to be. So if you decide, you know what, I would prefer to take the principles of construction, you can always click on the up arrow and it will move the principles of construction to the first alternate. And in this case, we need to see three alternates. The access, parents can change the courses as well as the students. We will keep this view open for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, we will close your access and then we will begin creating the master schedule according to the students' interests. I'm going to assign you a little bit of homework, and I would like for you to verify that your child has 8 credits and 3 alternates selected for their ninth grade year. And in order for me to know that you have approved your child's course selections, I'm going to ask you to e sign their career plan. And this is how you do it. So you will go on the far left and click on the career plan tab. And you will notice that up at the top, it will say career plan for, and it will say your child's name. If you will click on that blue sign, this screen will pop up and your name will be there on the far left. You will click on the button that says I agree and then click on OK. That shows the counselors that you have looked at the course selections and you are approving what your child has signed up for. And I know that some of you are wondering what types of things are we offering here at the high school? High school has more options than middle school. We are bigger, we have more organizations, and we have more clubs. You can find this information on our home webpage if you would select a site being high school and then visit the club tab. And if you go into those different things that you may be interested in, you will get a little bit more information about those clubs or organizations. Here is our contact information. We at the high school are organized according to the last name of your child. Then, if you have any questions, please email that counselor and we will get back to you with the answer that you have emailed us. If it's just a general inquiry, you can call 1137 and you should be able to get that answer. I hope that I have given you at least an idea of what we do at the high school. Some things are very similar to the middle school, and some things are different than the middle school. So I hope that I have eased you in some way. Just knowing a little bit more about the high school, kind of relieving that anxiety of your child moving from middle school to high school. We are all here to help you and your child transition from the middle school years to the high school years. Once again, I am happy to be presenting this evening. We welcome you to the high school and we look forward to meeting with you next year.